Hey friends, so let me make sure this is actually recording. Yes, we're actually recording. Excuse my mess of my workspace. We're gonna organize it, okay? We're gonna get there. But right now, I wanted to put a trigger warning that I'm going to be discussing a loved one who has passed away. So if you're dealing with loss, or if you recently, or maybe you don't take hearing about loss well, I'm just letting you know now that I'm discussing a lost loved one. On today, 14 years ago, my mother passed away from breast cancer. She had been battling breast cancer for for about 2 years. My parents took it upon themselves to keep that on the hush for the majority of her medical interventions, and was only really made aware of it within like her last 6 months. So that was very tough because I was 15, going on 16, and literally it's like my world stopped when I found out this news. And yeah, I just pretty much went into caregiver mode for my mom because I found out, I think this was like right after my 16th birthday, or right before my 16th birthday. It was the summer before my brother and I went back to school for my sophomore and his junior year. Is that right? It's neither here nor there, really. Yeah. Anyways, sorry about that. But what I wanted to say really quickly is that I am super proud of myself. And this probably sounds really out of place to say that I'm super proud of myself. That's how that I was going to be talking about loss. What I'm saying is I am super proud of the fact that I'm not in a fetal position in a corner somewhere, that I am in a space where I'm not wishing my mom was still here to tell me how great I am and how well that I'm doing. I'm proud that the things that she taught me to believe and to know about myself, I have reacquired that confidence and that knowing so that I can move on with my life, raising my children to have that same level of self-worth and self-confidence and faith, and knowing that they don't need the world or anybody outside of themselves to tell them how amazing and how beautiful and how talented they are. I spent so many years prior to this one wanting people to tell me that my work was great, or that I was great, or that I was the best manager, or that I was so super capable of doing all of these things, versus just remembering that I should already know this about myself. And no one's opinion of me is going to make or break what destiny has already decided for me, what I've already decided for myself, or what I'm capable of doing. So I am proud that I'm in this space and that I'm not an emotional wreck, and that I'm actually still reminded of how capable I am, because that's just what she wanted for me, and I've been raised to want that for myself. And I know lately I've had a lot of people in my DMs like, gosh, you are so focused and you are doing so much, and I can't believe you are doing so much, and you've got kids and blah blah blah. And I had to stop back and think, like, what's so fascinating about that? When at one point I would be so fascinated at other people doing the exact same thing. Like, she has kids, how is she doing all of this stuff, and how are they cranking out all of these patterns? And maybe it's because their lifestyle is different than mine. And yes, we can take all of these things into consideration, but the one thing that I had to remember is, if I have the confidence and belief in myself and knowing that I'm capable of accomplishing something, no matter what the odds are, I'm gonna make sure I get that thing done. Because as long as I can put my mind to it, I will work my way through it. And that's how my mom raised me, mind over matter. And she was very big on programming and framing our minds to make us productive individuals. And even if that productivity means keeping a sound mind, Not necessarily just being the best at whatever it is that we do, but just that if we can have a sound mind, we will have no choice but to evolve into our best versions of who we wish to be or who we want to be within the thing that we do. So for me to be in this space right now, and I can know within myself that no matter what I do, it's going to be great because I have already decided that it's going to be great versus waiting for somebody to tell me that it's going to be great has like literally changed so much for me. And I am able to keep my focus and to keep like my timelines and to function at a high rate of productivity when I have the time for it, because I've reestablished within myself that I don't need the world to validate me. I don't need some brand to work with me. I don't need all of these things that at one point I was thinking, well, gosh, if I just had this many followers and if this people started liking me and if these people were sliding in my DMs, then maybe that would mean I'm on to something. And it's like, no, bro, that don't mean nothing. Like, for me, it doesn't. Now, for my business, yes, I do need certain metrics hit. I do need a certain level of engagement because that within itself is tied to some of how I make my money. But does that make me? Does that make my work? Does that determine my worth? No. So, and we keep coming back to this on this day, being able to separate those things and just going back to the knowing of, girl, you got it. You are great. You are worthy, and you are more than enough simply because you say so and you have the confidence to say so about yourself. That right there, that's making it to me. And being made, putting myself on, it feels amazing, okay? Like, I'm super proud. I feel like this is the proudest thing or the most proud my mom could have ever been of me, because I finally have gotten back to the space where I'm not like, I wish you were here to tell me these things. And now it's almost just like, I wish you were physically here to see that I made it back to who I always was meant to be. Confident, unapologetic, doing it just because I want to get it done. And yeah, like, is this a whole lot of horn tooting? Toot toot, it sure is. Do I feel as though I deserve it? I sure do. And do I want to put this energy out there for anybody else who may know what this feels like? Yes. And even if it's not loss, like even if it's like it's not a loved one that you connect your worth to, maybe it's just there could be a loss of confidence somewhere because maybe social media has got you down. Maybe you have loved ones in your life who you feel like just don't acknowledge or recognize you for who you are. This is my message to anybody out there who may be resonating with any of this, just to be like, hey, look, you have to know it for you. And you can't expect people to give you what you already need to have within yourself or need to be given to yourself. And if you've never been shown that, at least you know what you don't want. So if you know what you don't want, what you don't like, what you don't need for you, doing the opposite for yourself is step one. I believe and feel that everything starts with us. Now, I'm not on here to preach and tell you what you should be doing, all this stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, because we only do and perform at our level of awareness and perception. So if you don't feel called to do something, what is me telling you what you should do gonna do? Not gonna do anything at all. So I'm not here to call anybody out. It's just a reflection. I think my neighbors are doing the most right now, but that's besides the point. Let's get back on track. So yeah, and like I said, I'm not here to tell you what you should be doing. I'm here to tell you, do this with your routine so your brain will do this and blah, 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 because that's subjective to everybody. But But what I want for everybody to get out of this is simply to believe in yourself, to love yourself, because the world is doing enough as it is. The last thing I would want for anybody is to fall into that rut of thinking that they don't measure up when there's literally no bar. You are the bar. So if you want to raise your standard, that's on you. It's not for you to try to do what anybody else is doing or trying to look like anybody else. You know, do what makes you happy, believe, and know that whatever you decide is all that matters. You know, whether you believe you're the bomb or believe you're lacking, you're right. So keep that with you. I hope my message translates and resonates. And if it doesn't, that's cool. Leave it where you found it and carry on, because this isn't gospel, you know? This is just my perspective and me being vulnerable and honest about where I'm at and what I'm doing and why I'm happy on December 4th, 2020. Because on December 4th, 2006, that wasn't the case, at least not immediately. And Mom, thank you. Thank you for setting such an amazing example on not only how to be an amazing and strong and powerful woman, but just being a kind, intentional, purposeful human being. Even at your most physically weak state, you never shook in your faith. You stayed fast to your purpose, and you were always present however you needed to be. You knew how to show up. And thank you for teaching me how to show up. And still finding a way to allow me to feel your presence, you know, because it's strong, and I'm so grateful for that. So thanks, Mom. It's my message for you. And for the rest of you out there, if you're watching this, I love you. I'm sending you the best vibes and encouragement. And, you know, do whatever you want to do. Just as a reminder to take away from this, do what you want to do. Don't let the world get you down. Don't let social media cloud your perception of how to do you, okay? Like, just do it because you want to get it done. All right? That's all I got. Hey.